Hi everyone and welcome to this drawing video. In this video I want to show you how to draw some water drops on some toned tan paper. I worked on something similar to this back during Inktober last year and it was a lot of fun to work on, and I had a few requests wanting to see the process. So here's that process video. In terms of the materials, I used paper from Adala Rowney Earthbound sketchbook. For the sketching process I used a mechanical pencil with HB leads, and then for the pen outlines I used a Pigma Micron 05. For the shading, I used Copic Markers, specifically Cool Grey 1, 3, 5 and 7. And then for the highlighting, I used a white Prismacolor pencil and a Uni-Ball Signo Broad white ink pen. But please don't worry too much about the equipment. You can create this with a bunch of different stuff. You can use coloured pencils or graphite. There are so many options with a drawing like this, and this is just my technique for the Inktober style drawings. As you can see, I started by roughly sketching the shapes of the water drops, all different shapes and sizes, and after that I used a Pigma Micron 05 to add some pen outlines around the lower right edge of each water drop. I wanted to imagine that the light source in this drawing was coming in from the top left. When it was time for the shading, I started with a Cool Grey 7, adding some really dark shading along the left side of the drop. And then I blended inwards with Cool Grey 5, and then even further inwards with a Cool Grey 3, and just try to keep that gradient nice and smooth. And then finally, to smooth that gradient all the way towards the highlighted side of the drop, I used a Cool Grey 1. Also continuing to remember that the light source is on the top left, so thinking about the shadows that would be cast from that towards the bottom right of each drop. After that, I then brought out the white Prismacolor pencil and started adding some highlights. I added a faint highlight going along the left side to really contrast that dark shading, and then I added some really bright highlights going along the right side, showing where the light is shining through and really highlighting that side. Another way for me to show the light shining through the drop and being refracted onto the surface that the drop is settled on was I basically marked off an area with the Copic markers and then coloured in another highlight underneath the drop. And then finally, to really add some really bright highlights to make this drawing stand out, I used a Uni-Ball Signo Broad white ink pen, adding a couple of dots of highlights towards the top left of the drop, and then underneath the drop in that highlight as well, making those two highlights really stand out. And I really love that effect on this toned tan paper. Having a kind of a mid-tone paper really allows you to make use of highlights like this. And after that, I just continued the same process for each of the drops, changing it up a little bit for the different shapes and sizes. And obviously the smaller drops are much easier, where just blending a little bit of Copic marker and then adding the big bright highlights. And it's just a really fun process, and obviously being able to take advantage of the mid-tone paper and really playing with the highlights is the kind of drawing that I really enjoy working on, and I highly recommend trying it out. I also wanted to mention the process for creating the leaf texture in my Inktober drawing. The awesome thing about Copic markers is that you can add layers of colour over the top. So that's all I did. I brought out a new leaf marker and then added a layer of colour over the top of everything, and that's all that required. I also used a dark green Prismacolor pencil to add the parallel lines running across to create the texture. And then tried to create the effect of the texture being refracted inside each of the drops. That was really fun, and I recommend trying that out as well if you get a chance. And that's all that effect's required. It was a very quick process, and I've loved working on these two drawings. If you do work on anything similar, then feel free to show me. I would love to see. I really hope this video has helped out in some way, and if you want to see more videos like this, then make sure you're subscribed, and any likes or shares on this video, it really mean a lot to me. If you want to follow my progress and keep updated with everything I'm working on, then be sure to check out the links in the description box below to check out my Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. And once again, thank you so much for the support, and thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll see you all soon.